Imagine a creature so terrifying that an entire country lives in fear of it. A monster that lurks beneath murky waters, watching and waiting for its next victim. In the heart of Africa, there exists a predator that has claimed more human lives than any other animal in recorded history. A massive crocodile, responsible for over 300 deaths. This is not a myth or a campfire story. It's a documented fact that has haunted the nightmares of villagers for decades. And the most chilling part? Despite numerous hunting expeditions, military interventions, and elaborate traps, this killer has never been caught. Just an unobtrusive reminder to hit that like button if you forget to do it. In the small East African nation of Burundi, along the shores of Lake Tanganyika and the Ruzizi River, there lurks a crocodile so legendary that he earned his own name, Gustaf. This isn't your average Nile crocodile. Believed to be over 60 years old, Gustaf is a true giant, measuring an estimated 18 to 20 feet long and weighing more than a ton, making him one of the largest crocodiles ever documented in Africa. What makes Gustaf instantly recognizable isn't just his enormous size. He bears distinctive scars on his face, including a bullet mark on his head and another on his right shoulder, testament to the many failed attempts to kill him. Some reports claim he's missing a tooth in his upper jaw, giving his already terrifying face an even more menacing appearance. But what truly sets Gustaf apart from other crocodiles is his appetite. Not for the usual fish, antelope, or zebra that most crocodiles prefer, but for human beings. While most crocodile attacks on humans are opportunistic, Gustaf appears to have developed a preference for human prey. This isn't just unusual behavior, it's unprecedented on this scale. Most crocodiles will take human prey if the opportunity presents itself, but they don't actively hunt humans as a primary food source, explains herpetologist Dr. Thomas Parker. What makes Gustaf so unusual is his apparent preference for human victims, even when other prey is available. It's as if he's developed a taste for people. Gustaf's reign of terror is believed to have begun sometime in the late 1980s, though it's unclear exactly when he claimed his first human victim. Reports of an unusually large crocodile attacking villagers began to emerge from communities along the northern shores of Lake Tanganyika. Initially, these attacks were treated as typical crocodile incidents. Tragic, but not unusual in a region where humans and crocodiles share waterways. But as the attacks continued and increased in frequency, a pattern began to emerge. Survivors and witnesses described a massive crocodile with distinctive scarring. The creature would often strike in the same areas repeatedly, sometimes taking multiple victims in a single week. Most chillingly, the crocodile would often leave the bodies uneaten or even partially consumed, a behavior that defies the typical predatory patterns of crocodiles, who usually kill to eat. What's disturbing about Gustaf's behavior is that he appears to kill beyond his nutritional needs, notes wildlife biologist Dr. Sarah Connors. Most predators, including crocodiles, don't expend energy hunting unless they need to feed. This suggests something else might be driving his aggression toward humans. By the early 1990s, as Burundi descended into civil war, Gustaf's attacks intensified. The political chaos created perfect conditions for the predator. Displaced people were forced to use the waterways more frequently, security was minimal, and record-keeping became sporadic. It was during this period that Gustaf's legend began to grow, as did the body count attributed to him. The figure of 300 human victims is the most commonly cited estimate of Gustaf's deadly toll, but the actual number is impossible to verify. This number first appeared in reports around 2004 and has been repeated in documentaries and articles ever since. However, there are several reasons to approach this figure with caution. First, during much of Gustaf's active period, Burundi was in the midst of civil conflict, making official documentation of crocodile attacks inconsistent at best. Second, not all crocodile attacks in the region can be definitively attributed to Gustaf, even if locals believe them to be his work. And third, the number has likely been inflated as the crocodile's legend has grown. The 300 figure should be treated as an upper estimate rather than a confirmed count, cautions Dr. Patrice Fay, a French naturalist who spent years tracking Gustaf. What we can say with certainty is that Gustaf is responsible for dozens of confirmed killings, and possibly many more that went undocumented during the war years. Even at the lower end of estimates, he would still be the deadliest individual crocodile in recorded history. What makes these numbers even more shocking is that most of Gustaf's attacks aren't motivated by hunger. In many documented cases, victims were killed but not eaten, suggesting that his aggression toward humans might be driven by something other than predatory instinct. Some researchers have suggested that Gustaf's bullet wounds, likely inflicted by poachers years ago, may have left him with a permanent hatred of humans. As Gustaf's reputation grew and the death toll mounted, numerous attempts were made to capture or kill the notorious crocodile. The most famous of these was documented in the 2004 PBS documentary, Capturing the Killer Croc, which followed a team led by French naturalist Patrice Fay as they attempted to trap the beast. Fay designed a massive cage, weighing nearly a ton, equipped with a live goat as bait and a spring-loaded door. The trap was set up along one of Gustaf's known hunting routes, with cameras positioned to document the capture. But despite weeks of waiting, Gustaf never approached the trap. It was as if he sensed the danger, a level of intelligence that further cemented his legendary status. "He's like a calculating serial killer," Fay said in the documentary. "He seems to understand when people are looking for him, and he adapts his behavior accordingly. In all my years of studying crocodiles, I've never encountered one so elusive and seemingly intelligent." Local authorities have also made numerous attempts to eliminate the threat. Military personnel have been dispatched to hunt Gustaf, armed with high-powered rifles. Experienced crocodile hunters have set up ambushes along his known territories. Professional trappers have tried everything from baited hooks to elaborate cage systems. Yet, Gustaf has evaded every attempt, sometimes disappearing for months before resurfacing in a different location to claim more victims. His ability to survive has earned him a supernatural reputation among locals. Some believe he's possessed by evil spirits that make him bulletproof. Others think he's the reincarnation of a warlord who terrorized the region centuries ago. These beliefs, while not scientifically credible, speak to the psychological impact Gustaf has had on communities that live in fear of his next appearance. For the people of Burundi, particularly those in rural villages near the country's waterways, Gustaf is not just a distant threat, but a daily reality that has fundamentally changed how they live. Fishermen who once worked alone now travel in groups, taking turns to watch for any sign of the massive predator. Children no longer swim or play near the water's edge. Women gathering water for their families do so quickly, often in pairs or groups, ready to raise the alarm at the first sign of danger. Before you do anything near the water, you look, not once, but many times, explains Jean Hakizimana, a fisherman from Rumonga, a town on the shores of Lake Tanganyika. Even then, you know he could appear suddenly. Many of my friends have disappeared. One moment they were there, the next only bubbles in the water. The psychological impact extends beyond fear. Many communities have developed elaborate rituals they believe will protect them from Gustaf. Some wear special amulets when approaching the water. Others pour offerings into the lake before setting out on fishing expeditions. In some villages, spiritual leaders perform ceremonies to blind the crocodile to their presence. The economic impact has been equally severe. Fishing is a crucial source of income and food for many communities. But fear of Gustaf has reduced the number of people willing to risk going out on the water. Those who do often stay closer to shore, reducing their potential catch. Tourism, already limited due to the country's political instability, has been further affected by the threat of the killer crocodile. It's not just the people he's killed directly, notes social anthropologist Dr. Marie Nduwamana. It's the livelihoods destroyed, the children who go hungry because their parents are afraid to fish, the psychological trauma of living with this constant threat. The ripple effects of Gustaf's presence touch thousands more lives than those he's taken directly. What makes a crocodile become a man-eater? According to wildlife biologists, there are several factors that could explain Gustaf's unusual behavior. First, size matters. As crocodiles grow larger, they require larger prey to sustain themselves. A massive specimen like Gustaf needs substantial meals to maintain his energy levels. Humans, while not as calorie-rich as some natural prey, are relatively easy targets when they come to the water's edge. Second, injury or disability can alter hunting patterns. If Gustaf's bullet wounds made it difficult for him to catch his natural prey, he might have turned to humans out of necessity. When predators can't hunt their preferred prey effectively, they often switch to easier targets, explains crocodile specialist Dr. Anton Reynolds. Humans, unfortunately, can be very easy prey when they're predictable in their movements around water sources. Third, learned behavior plays a crucial role. If Gustaf had success hunting humans early in his life, especially during times when other food sources were scarce, he might have developed a behavioral pattern that continued even when other prey became available. Finally, some experts suggest that Gustaf's man-eating behavior could be partly driven by territorial aggression rather than hunger. This would explain why he often kills without eating his victims. He's not hunting for food, but eliminating what he perceives as threats or competitors in his territory. Crocodiles are surprisingly complex animals with individual personalities and behavioral patterns, notes Dr. Reynolds. We tend to think of them as primitive killing machines, but they're capable of learning, adapting, and developing unique behaviors based on their experiences. Gustaf represents an extreme example of how these adaptive capabilities can manifest in ways dangerous to humans. The question that continues to haunt the people of Burundi: is Gustaf still alive? The last confirmed sighting of the infamous crocodile was reported in 2015, when a massive crocodile matching Gustaf's description was spotted near the village of Mangara. This sighting came after a period of relative quiet, leading some to believe that the aging predator might have finally died. However, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Now, crocodiles can live up to 100 years in the wild, and at an estimated 60-plus years, Gustaf could still be very much alive and active. Crocodiles are known to change their hunting grounds when an area becomes too familiar with their presence, and Gustaf has demonstrated remarkable adaptability throughout his reign of terror. The mystery of Gustaf's current status has sparked intense debate online, particularly on platforms like Reddit, where amateur sleuths and wildlife enthusiasts gather to share theories and reports. On subreddits like r/cryptid discussion and r/true crime, threads about Gustaf regularly surface, with users analyzing satellite imagery of Lake Tanganyika, gathering news reports from the region, and debating whether the killer crocodile is still claiming victims. I check for news about Gustaf almost weekly, wrote one Reddit user in a popular thread from 2023. It's become an obsession. I can't explain why, but I need to know if he's still out there. The fact that we don't know for sure is both fascinating and terrifying. Another user who claimed to have relatives in Burundi posted, "My cousin says people still talk about him all the time. They say he's moved to a more remote part of the lake where there are fewer people looking for him. No one with any sense goes swimming there." While these online discussions lack scientific verification, they demonstrate how Gustaf has transcended from being a local threat to an international legend, a symbol of nature's capacity to evade human control and understanding. Local authorities in Burundi occasionally report large crocodile attacks that some attribute to Gustaf, but without photographic evidence or clear identification of the distinct scars, these reports remain unconfirmed. The country's ongoing political instability also makes systematic tracking and reporting difficult. It's entirely possible that Gustaf is still alive and active, says Dr. Fay, who has continued to monitor reports from the region. Crocodiles are incredibly resilient animals, and one as successful as Gustaf will have accumulated the fat reserves and survival skills to live a very long life. Whether he's still hunting humans or has returned to more natural prey, only time will tell. Gustaf's reign of terror has extended far beyond the shores of Lake Tanganyika and into global popular culture. The most notable example is the 2007 horror film Primeval, which was marketed with the tagline, "Inspired by the true story of the most prolific serial killer in history," a thinly veiled reference to Gustaf. While the film took significant creative liberties, it introduced Gustaf's story to international audiences and sparked interest in the real-life killer Crocodile. Documentary teams from National Geographic, PBS, and the BBC have all produced features on Gustaf, further cementing his status as an unlikely celebrity in the world of dangerous wildlife. In Burundi itself, Gustaf has become something of a dark national icon, feared but also perversely respected for his cunning and resilience. Artwork depicting the massive crocodile can be found in local markets, and stories of his exploits are passed down as cautionary tales to children. Some locals even speak of him with a hint of pride, as if his ability to outmaneuver all attempts at capture reflects something about their own national character and resistance to outside control. "He's a monster, yes," one village elder told a BBC crew in 2014, "but he is our monster. He has defeated everyone who came to catch him, just as Burundi has defeated those who tried to control us." Whether Gustaf is still alive or has finally succumbed to age, his legacy is secure as one of the deadliest individual animals in human history. But beyond the grim statistics, Gustaf's story raises important questions about human-wildlife conflict in a rapidly changing world. As human populations expand and natural habitats shrink, encounters between people and potentially dangerous wildlife become increasingly common. While Gustaf represents an extreme case, conflict between crocodiles and humans is a growing problem across Africa, with hundreds of attacks reported each year. What makes Gustaf's case so instructive is that it shows how these conflicts can escalate when not properly managed, explains conservation biologist Dr. Helen Morris. Early intervention with problematic individual animals, better education about risk reduction, and development of alternative water access points could prevent many attacks. Gustaf's story also serves as a reminder of nature's power and unpredictability. In an age where humans dominate most of the planet, there are still wild creatures capable of turning the tables, of making humans the hunted rather than the hunters. For scientists, Gustaf represents a fascinating case study in animal behavior and adaptation. For the people of Burundi, he remains a very real threat and source of ongoing trauma. And for the rest of us, safely removed from his hunting grounds, he serves as a humbling reminder that despite all of our technological advancements and supposed mastery of the natural world, there are still forces beyond our control. Somewhere in the dark waters of Lake Tanganyika, Gustaf may still be waiting, watching for his next victim. Or perhaps his reign of terror has finally ended, leaving behind only stories and scars in the collective memory of a nation. Either way, his legend ensures that for generations to come, people will approach those waters with caution, glancing over their shoulders, wondering if they're being watched from just beneath the surface. If you've finished watching, don't be lazy to hit that like button, and we'll see you later.